Well, good morning. Thank you for being here. I don't typically read, but since this is a more formal process, I certainly will do so now. Transparency and accountability are essential in and to public education. And today's release of the board's Unified Evaluation Summary for the superintendent reflects both transparency and accountability. This process demonstrates the commitment we share, all of us together, to our students, our staff, and to our community, to operate with openness, integrity, and a focus on continuous improvement. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our board leadership for being here this morning. I want to thank all of our trustees who could attend with us, Mrs. Bailey, Mrs. Watley, Chair McKinney, and Dr. Carol Temple, who led this process. Mrs. McKinney and Dr. Temple both led the committee that developed the evaluation tool, and they worked steadfastly alongside me, very collaboratively and cooperatively with me to develop a tool focused on primarily the improvement of our system and student outcomes. Of course, I want to thank other trustees who also engaged with them, gave them feedback, and they are represented here. Some could not attend today. I'll now turn the mic over to Chair McKinney to share remarks on behalf of the board, and then Dr. Carol Temple, who led this process, will come to speak to you. Mrs. McKinney.
Thank you, Superintendent Huggins. This is truly a shining moment for Charleston County School District. Through a rigorous and thoughtful evaluation process, the board affirmed Superintendent Huggins' exemplary leadership and our collective progress as a district. Each trustee independently reviewed evidence and measurable indicators across three key areas: educational leadership, district management, and board and community relationships. Those results were compiled into a unified summary that reflects the board's shared priorities and commitment to accountability. Superintendent Huggins earned an overall score of 30.89 out of a possible 33 points. This resulted in an exemplary rating, which is the highest level of performance possible under this model. The board was particularly encouraged by several areas of outstanding performance. Superintendent Huggins received perfect scores in physical management, graduation rate, and college and career readiness. And this reflects both our academic progress and operational excellence. Trustees also noted exemplary performance in literacy and math achievement, where the district has seen measurable gains in SE Ready, English Language Arts, Algebra 1, and early literacy growth. We also commend her leadership in community engagement and partnerships, where CCSD continues to build trust through school visits, open communication, and initiatives such as Local, which mobilizes resources to directly support our students and families. The evaluation further highlights progress in goal development, data-driven decision-making, and professional learning. These are areas that strengthen our district's foundation and ensure that our improvement is sustainable. Through these systems, we are helping our teachers and principals focus on what matters most, and that's improving student outcomes. This process was about more than numbers, however. It was about alignment and ensuring that the superintendent's leadership and the board's vision are fully focused on the success of every child. This is a turning point for Charleston County School District, with the superintendent and board united in a purpose. We are positioned to build on this momentum and accelerate results for all students. Our focus remains clear: strong leadership, effective systems, and equitable opportunities in every school. And at this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Temple, who chaired the committee that developed the evaluation instrument, and she'll share more about the process with you. Dr. Temple.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McKinney, Chair McKinney. I have to say I truly appreciated the time we spent together working on something that I think is very valuable. Thank you. I'm going to read my statement as well. When our board began developing this evaluation tool earlier this year, our purpose was clear: to create a process that was data-driven, fair, and reflective of the real work of leading improvement in a complex school district. The ad hoc committee worked closely with Superintendent Huggins to design an instrument that connects directly to student achievement, operation effectiveness, and community trust. We wanted a tool that measures not only outcomes, but also the systems and relationships that make those outcomes possible. Our board chair, McKinney, mentioned the evaluation is grounded in 3 areas of leadership: educational leadership, district management, and board and community relationships. Within each area are detailed indicators tied to our strategic plan, everything from early literacy and math proficiency to physical management, professional learning, and family engagement. We researched national models for superintendent evaluation and adapted the best practices to meet the needs of Charleston County. We wanted a rigorous and transparent evaluation to present to the superintendent and the community. The result is a framework that allowed trustees to independently assess progress and then come together to create a unified summary that reflects both evidence and shared priorities. This year's results confirm that the process worked. The evaluation provides meaningful feedback, celebrates growth, and helps guide future improvement. Most importantly, it reinforces a culture of continuous reflection and collaboration between the board and the superintendent, one focused squarely on student outcomes. I want to thank my colleague Pam McKinney for co-leading this work with me, the full board for its diligence, and Superintendent Huggins for her openness throughout the process. I believe the evaluation report represents a commitment of the trustees to support the educational leadership of the superintendent as she pursues the continuous improvement of a system that provides all students with a high-quality education. At this time, I'm honored to turn over this press conference to Superintendent Anita Huggins, who will share her reflections and her response. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Temple and Mrs. McKinney. I want to begin by thanking the Board of Trustees for its thoughtful, comprehensive evaluation and for its confidence in my leadership. The evaluation is humbling. It is not a reflection of my work alone, but a testament to the dedication of a lot of great people who stand beside me, and principals and teachers and staff who serve children every single day in our system with excellence. I'm especially appreciative of the board's acknowledgement of measurable gains in literacy, numeracy, graduation rates, and college and career readiness, accomplishments that reflect the collective effort and determination of this entire community. Our progress in instructional quality, early literacy, and equitable access to learning is a direct result of collaboration, focus, and a belief in what's possible for every single child in this district. Leadership must always be evaluated by its impact on children and by its impact on student outcomes. Every initiative and investment must move the needle for all of our students. I am and will always be an unapologetic advocate for the children of this district especially those who have been historically underserved. Advocacy for children is not an act of defiance. Instead, it is an act of love, responsibility, and moral duty. As we continue this important work together, I am confident in the dedication of our district and of our trustees, and Ms. Jewett joined us moments ago. With a united board, with dedicated educators who are serving every day in our schools, and a community that truly believes in students' potential, there is no limit to what we can achieve for the children and families of this great district. And so again, I want to thank the board. I want to thank Dr. Temple and Mrs. McKinney who led this process. And I want to thank many of the senior leaders who stand alongside of me today, because without them, the work simply would not be possible. And with that, there are 3 other trustees. And so if they'd like to say anything, I'd like to invite them to come up and say whatever they'd like to say before we open it up for questions. Mrs. Watley, Mrs. Bailey, and Mrs. Jewett.
I just want to simply say I stand with the community and applaud the success that we've seen at the State of the Schools with the data that's been delivered. I also want to affirm the community and my commitment to continuing the work that we have started. My heart's desire is to see just how high we can elevate our children and our community moving forward. And I think the data shows that Ms. Huggins is an inspirational leader and the right leader for this time. And I look forward to continuing the success and working alongside with her and the rest of the Board of Trustees as we continue to stay committed to the student outcomes. Thank you.
I just want to say I am so proud to be a part of this time in this season in Charleston County School District. I am so proud of Superintendent Huggins and everything that she has accomplished and established during this time. And I am thankful that CCSDC has her wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and her love for this district, these schools, the administrators, her staff, and all of the families in CCSDC. And I'm so grateful to have her here and to be a part of everything that's going on in this season. Thank you.
I think everyone has exhausted all of the accolades, but I will say we have a lot of work to do still, and we've got a lot of opportunity, and we have a great leader. So, with a unified board, hopefully we can continue to lead and continue the work ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jewett, and thank you, trustees. As Ms. Jewett shared, there is a lot of work to do, so we've got to get busy, so we only have a few more minutes. We'll open it up for any questions that you might have for me or for any of our trustees.
Yeah, Anita, you got a little choked up there a little bit, just reflecting on these scores, I'm sure. Kind of talk to me about what it means to you on a personal level and seeing your career and your service to the district all these years and continuously getting these high praises.
So the work here in Charleston is really hard. We've seen decades, centuries of underperformance for our students, and so that we see children, particularly children who have been underserved for so long, achieving at levels that they haven't before is really humbling to me, and that I can be part of that is part of the servant leadership that I was raised to be, to do, and to be called for this season. And so it's an honor to serve in this role, and I'm honored that the board has seen fit to acknowledge the work that we've led collectively together in the system. And I did get a bit choked up of thinking about the work that we've been able to accomplish. But as is evident, there's still a lot to do, and I look forward to working with this board and senior leaders and those in our schools to do that hard work. Thank you for the thoughtful question.
Congratulations, first of all. As Ms. Jewett said, this is great, but there is opportunity.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask if there are any next steps or goals for the upcoming year that board would like the superintendent to focus on that maybe were outlined?
It's a great question, Valerie. There still is a lot of work to do. In fact, until every child in the system is performing at or above grade level, and until every child leaves the system ready to do whatever he or she wants to do next, we won't have accomplished our mission. I won't feel accomplished because I want everyone to be ready. And so we'll continue our relentless focus on literacy and numeracy at all levels. We're going to expand early childhood, looking at universal pre-K, constituent area by constituent area. And then we'll continue our focus on access and opportunity as students get into secondary opportunities, making sure children are ready when they leave the system to do whatever they want to do to be accomplished. We'll also focus on mindset and making sure internally that we believe all kids can and all kids will, and in our hiring practices and where we put our money, because the people we hire and where we budget is a reflection of what we believe in our hearts about kids. And so the board and I'll continue to focus on student outcomes and improving the system for every learner. I don't know if any board member would like to speak to that. Maybe not. Maybe not. That they are 100% committed. Mrs. Watley?
To your point, one thing that I have personally gotten to witness over the last 3 years after the hiring of Superintendent Huggins is she is a leader that is very strategic and very wise in her selection of district staff. I believe that her decisions with the CFO and the rest of the cabinet is evidence, especially when you get results with the data. That is when you're able to actually measure the success. So I believe with her vision and their collective wisdom, we will be able to continue to elevate and push forward. Like I said, my heart's desire is to see just how high we can elevate our children, just how far we can take our community. We're already leading the southeastern region, and I believe that we are, according to Harvard, Stanford, and Dartmouth, we're also leading nationally. And I believe with the strategic visionary leadership that we've seen displayed so far, we're going to continue seeing our district elevate higher and higher and defying the odds that we've seen. And over we've heard repeatedly that South Carolina is at the bottom. Well, CCSD is not at the bottom. We're leading. We're going to continue to lead. And I believe we're going to just be like a beacon of light and hope.
I think that we appreciate that, Ms. Watley. The work really isn't about me, and the high marks are really a reflection of a great team of people who do really, really good work for kids every day, and that includes all the teachers in our schools who are showing up every day ready, believing that all kids can. Valerie. Yes,
Two more
please.
questions.
Yes,
One
ma'am.
for you, and then I'll move over to either Ms. McKinney or Dr. Temple.
Please.
But my last question for you, Anita, is, it's said that a team is only as great as its leader, and the fact that you are the leader of the district and you've received, again, every single time that I see you, you have some type of award or some type of praise for you. So kind of talk to me about that mindset of the baseline, having the team is only as good as its leader.
Well, a common phrase around here is leadership matters, and the buck does stop with me. And so I try to lead every day the way I grew up learning about leadership on that dirt road, that is all about being a servant and getting down and doing the work alongside people. And I hope that my leadership exemplifies that in so much as other folks, want to do that. When there's something broken at a school, sometimes Mr. Burley goes out, for example, himself to see the work. Dr. Clamp has been seen reading and working in small groups with children. It's not much with numbers that Mr. Prentice standing here doesn't do. Mrs. Roberts leads data accountability meetings herself, and Mr. Brigman goes everywhere looking for the best and the brightest. And so leadership matters, and I hope that I lead with a servant's heart, and that allows other folks around me the ability to do things that we might not see leaders do, which I believe is transformative for a system, which is serve.
Absolutely. And then I do have a question for either one of y'all. Dr. Temple, you're coming up. Miss McKinney, either of y'all, if y'all could just speak as to, y'all came up with these tools or these evaluation tools this year. What was the motivation behind that, number one? And number two, why is it so important to have these kinds of evaluations and relationships between the Board of Trustees and the superintendent?
Okay. Well, I think it was very important for us to have an evaluation instrument to monitor the progress that the district's making, to monitor ways to see improvements, and to inform our superintendent in terms of how we feel the district is performing. So that was really important. I think it was also really important for the community to see a board evaluating its superintendent. That is something, I've been in the system for a long time, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the evaluation of the superintendent be intense, be intentional, and be communicated to the public. So one of the things that Ms. McKinney and I spent time on this week was, after we received the surveys from our board members anonymously, we tallied the data, came up with the averages, and prepared a report that will be that was submitted to the superintendent, but will also be visible to the community. We think that that transparency is really important, because when our community understands what we're accomplishing, but also what we need, that is how we move forward.
So to address your question about why we did this, we have a policy. Policy CBI requires an annual evaluation of the superintendent. It helps our superintendent know where the complements and the challenges are, and it helps us understand how other trustees think, even though it's anonymous, as Dr. Temple referred to the averages. When you have a superintendent that scores a 30.89 out of 33 possible points, that is strong leadership. That is very strong leadership. And the perfect scores in the few areas, the fiscal management, the community outreach, those are encouragements for her and for our community. And I think it's an also wonderful instrument to let other trustees know how we can support our superintendent, because supporting her supports our children.
And I also think that having a superintendent who was willing to have an instrument that was rigorous, that included not only, her skills for leadership, but also the student outcomes is very significant. When Ms. McKinney and I researched different models, we threw out the ones that were soft, soft and fluffy. And I think it speaks highly that Anita wanted a rigorous and relevant instrument. So when we brought examples forward, we were able to, because we had agreement, we were able to develop the instrument that we have.
I'd actually like to say there's one little element to that I feel like you guys missed that's very important.
Okay.
So I would actually also add, an instrument like this is really important, not just for our superintendent today. This is something that's being put into place for history, for the future. So we are setting a benchmark of how we expect our superintendent's processes to go. And the hope is she continues, but once she leaves, her legacy, the next superintendent has benchmarks to meet, has something to base themselves off of. And so if we continue this and she continues this in the future, there is a way to evaluate that will continue to keep people accountable. So I think that's a big part of it.
I echo and ditto what the other trustees said, and accountability aside, another very important element about measurable data is it also exposes the areas that are vulnerable, the areas that we do need to continue the work in. Yes, we had areas of perfect scores, but we also had areas that had less than perfect scores. And that definitely highlights, especially when it comes to the focus on math and elevating those math scores. Those are areas that we know then measurably where we can focus our efforts and our resources.
I have one last question. Will the evaluation have any impact on Ms. Huggins' contract?
So your question is, will the evaluation have an effect on the superintendent's contract?
Yes.
The policy that I mentioned, CBI, allows at this point for the Board of Trustees to address that. Yes.
It will?
We can. We can. That is a possibility.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Sorry, that's just,
It's very vague.
So ask me a question.
Will the evaluation have an impact on the superintendent's contract?
I would certainly think it would have a positive impact.
But what does that mean?
Let me put it this way. On a board agenda, there may be an item that will allow us to discuss the superintendent's employment agreement. That would be done like any other employment agreement in executive session. And then after executive session discussion, if there is a motion for the employment agreement to change, that vote would be taken publicly.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? Well, again, accountability is really important. I think great leaders want to be held accountable. I certainly do, and I appreciate that those standing alongside me who help lead the district, they do. Again, I want to thank the board. I want to thank Dr. Temple and Mrs. McKinney for leading this process out front and allowing me to be part of it. And I really, again, want to thank the community and send a clear message that while we celebrate the great work today, there's still lots to do, and I invite them to join us with that. Anyone who wants to work with kids, we want to work with you. So if you're watching this, please call us, email me directly, Anita_Huggins at charlestoncountyschools.gov, Mr. Prentice, and get involved in the exciting work in the Charleston County School District. Thank you again for being here, and thank you for support of the CCSD and its children. Thank you.